back in the day, everyone's seen that kind of famous clip of Matt Damon explaining how the mid-budget movies used to be made and how they didn't expect them to make their money back at the box office. What it was is they would put it out, it would make a portion of its box office back, but then really the money was in DVD sales and going straight to pay VOD, or at that time it would have been pay-per-view and stuff like that. Is the number so negligible that we don't even worry about it? But because sometimes I think some of these movies get fairly close to breaking even. Now, again, they're not going to make their money back, and they're certainly not making enough profit to make a lot of these ventures worthwhile, which we're always criticizing. But I do wonder how much of it is because like Top Gun Maverick sat in pay VOD, or like a lot of the John Wick movies, because they're through Stars, they sit in pay VOD for a long time, and I have to imagine they do make some of their money back in that form. I just don't know where the numbers with that would come from, because most of them stick with giving you your box office numbers.
Paul, I mean, I know that's kind of right up your alley because you used to be a TV network executive there for years. So you can probably tell us on the back end, what some of those residuals at least traditionally used to look like. But you're right, Brett. I mean, those movies sat 3 months in PVOD and then a physical media window that overlapped some of that. Yeah. And then they finally went to streaming where they collected another check. But Paul, what do you got on that one?
Well, in the heyday, you had the theater release, then you had VHS or beta release pre-DVD. Then at some point they would show up on the network, and it would be one of these big, brutally edited versions.
Yes.
And it'd be the movie of the week, and every network had one. CBS, ABC, and NBC always had a movie of the week, especially when a slate of shows all went in the dumper. Then immediately it would be Sunday night, NBC movie of the week, because they could take up 2 hours worth of time on.
Next up on NBC, Showgirls. This film has been modified for your television viewing experience.
It is 8 minutes long.
And that's just hey, to be fair, I would have it's been getting better the last couple of years, but for like 3 or 4 years there, Hollywood movies were all almost 3 hours long. I think they should have been hiring some of these TV editors to make their damn movies shorter. Because anytime a movie gets me out of the theater in under 2 hours, I already like it better. Like, I'm already more willing to give it a positive review if they can not monopolize 3 hours of my time.
If they could have made the ending fight scene in Dune a little bit longer, I would have been happier. But notwithstanding that, I completely agree with you, especially with regards to comedies. Comedies shouldn't be longer than 90 minutes.
Nope.
So that was the heyday. And what was nice about it is that it all seemed fairly organized and you understood what was going on. To me, part of the problem right now is, like, I wanted to see Solaris, the newer one with the good-looking guy. What's his name? From ER.
Is it a new movie?
No, it's newish. I mean,
newish.
It's a science fiction movie.
I remember like the older ER cast with George Clooney and those people. I don't
George
know.
Clooney. So George Clooney's in the latest Solaris, and it's by one of my favorite science fiction writers, Stanislaw Lem. And so I think, number one, your question about how much money do new releases make on VOD is a really good question. Number two, how much money do older movies that kind of slip out of free streaming back into VOD? How much are those making? Because one of the things that's driving me nuts as a network person with a network background, plus the fact that almost every single network has a streaming service, is just how badly they cross-pollinate each other. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the dumbest thing. CBS put on Yellowstone finally. Like, it's and ABC put on what was it?
They aired Yellowstone because of the strike, right? Because there was no new material coming out, so that they decided to air Yellowstone.
Yeah, but it's half-assedly done. It's not promoted properly. You're just not getting any kind of sense of pride in what here's the stuff that our streaming people did. Okay, we'll throw it onto network. And they just don't know how to be carny barkers. They have no idea how to stand in front of an audience and go, ladies and gentlemen, this is the greatest elephant act in the world. It's like everyone in Hollywood has forgotten how to do the fun bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was like when Disney just re-released all 3 of those Pixar movies and they just dumped them back in theaters and nobody went and saw them.
No one went and saw them because they didn't know how to do it. Now, notwithstanding the fact, I mean, I did a whole video on the fact that they didn't even know how to talk about Walt Disney on the 100th anniversary. No,
but they can't.
Talk about Walt.
They can't talk about Walt because Walt was a terrible old white man,
and he hated commies.
You can't talk about that.
It's like the scene in Fawlty Towers where Basil is told, "Don't talk about Hitler," "Don't talk about Walt, whatever you do." And so it's, from me, as a voluble individual who's not afraid to promote things, I just don't see anybody in the industry having fun with their properties. Like, even Steve Jobs had the what was it called? His magic field, his distortion field, where everything he showed was great, even though the product was crap. Why? Where's that in Hollywood now, where everything is good, everything is great? I mean, at one point I think we made fun of it, but I'd like some of that back now.
Yeah, a little bit of pride in your work, even if you kind of have to fake it till you make it, goes a long way in getting people excited for the properties that you're putting out. And it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of that going on right now. I don't know if I don't know if that comes down to just the volume of content, like the amount of stuff getting made is like, can one executive really be expected to be able to speak graciously and proudly on all of these things without it coming across as disingenuous, like he's reading off of like a scorecard almost, right? It's I do miss it's funny you mentioned network TV earlier. I love old network TV. I do. I love old network TV. And you mentioned ER. I'm watching a show for the first time called Third Watch. It was from like 1999.
That sounds familiar.
And it ran and it did crossovers with ER. And I was just curious, and they did like, and to your point, I went back through and they did all of these TV promotions about the crossovers back then, because crossovers were so rare, right? They didn't do them on a regular basis. It's not like it is now. And everybody saw
Chicago Cop, Chicago.
Yeah. And so everybody saw those because just far more people were watching network television back then. So everyone saw the ads. And now you just don't get that. There's just too much content coming out. I don't even know where most people find it. Like for me, I know about all of it because this is what I do for work. I don't know how the average person comes across finding this stuff other than just putting on whatever streaming service they've chosen to have. And then I guess just scrolling until they find something that looks moderately good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know that everything is everywhere. There's OTA, which is shrinking. Cable is shrinking.
Yep.
Internet is increasing, but they're not finding network shows. They're on YouTube. More and more people are streaming. What's the percentage? What was it?
YouTube is by far and away the biggest thing that people are watching when it comes to streaming program or content, video content.
40% of my audience is watching it on my YouTube content on a regular TV.
Yep.
40%. Oh, yeah. That's ridiculous.
With smart TVs now, like a lot of people that I know, they don't even watch it. Like I watch most of it on my phone while I'm doing other things, right? That's the whole reason I have YouTube Premium, is so I can be doing other things and have my phone in a lock position while I'm listening to content, right? But a lot of people, it really is all about going home and just putting on, YouTube.